You know, it's fascinating how some people, like you, discover that every experience, even the ones that seem hard to carry, they're always quietly shaping something far stronger underneath. Like how a blacksmith tempers steel, heating, folding, cooling, folding again. Every strike of the hammer creating resilience, not ruin. And just as steel forgets its former shape, to take on something sharper, more useful, you too can forget these old limitations. And notice yourself forging something unbreakable. Because you've already begun to realize that change happens most deeply when it seems effortless. You don't have to try to grow any more than a tree tries to stretch its branches. It simply happens when the roots are nourished. And the roots here are simple. You're enough. Always have been. And every moment from here forward can reflect that. It's like that story of a man who carried a heavy bag everywhere. He thought it was full of bricks from his past mistakes. Yet when he finally looked inside, all he found was feathers. They only seemed heavy because he'd been clenching so tightly. And I wonder just how quickly you can let go of what no longer weighs you down anymore. You might remember a time, or maybe imagine one now, when forgiveness swept over you unexpectedly, like walking into a cool breeze after a long hot day. That's how self-compassion works. The more you allow it, the more you realise you never needed to punish yourself to prove that you've changed. Because taking responsibility and growing forward is far more powerful than staying trapped in the old loop. Isn't it curious how resilience works like a spring? The more it's compressed, the more forcefully it expands back. Maybe you've already felt that. The sensation that setbacks simply charge you with more momentum. Which makes sense because failure doesn't exist, only feedback does. Now some people learn to set boundaries, the same way a river learns to shape its banks, with time, with flow, with persistence. They realise protecting their path, it isn't selfish. It's what allows them to serve others, to contribute, to inspire, without burning out. When you embody that, you naturally attract people who respect your energy, mirror your optimism, and match your momentum. You might notice how humility, it isn't about shrinking, it's about standing tall while knowing. There's always more to learn. It's the quiet confidence of someone who can say, yes, I made mistakes, and yes, I've grown past them. And that statement alone carries a frame so strong, it gently pulls others into respect. In fact, think about how patience and persistence, they're like tuning an instrument. The first few turns of the peg don't seem to do much, but eventually, with just the right touch, everything resonates perfectly. And your life too, it's been tuning itself into harmony all along. You can already feel it, can't you? The shift. Because belief in possibility is less about convincing yourself and more about noticing where it's already true. Like when a seed cracks open in soil, no one tells it to grow. It just knows how. And you know how. What's even more exciting is how energy is magnetic. As you carry certainty, curiosity, and compassion, it ripples outward, shifting interactions, shaping opportunities, inviting support. People naturally gravitate towards someone who owns their story, just like moths circle a steady flame. You can appreciate how making amends, like planting flowers in a garden you once trampled, transforms not just the space, but the gardener too. Each sincere apology, each act of service plants a new blossom, and soon the garden flourishes so beautifully. No one even remembers what it looked like before. Because contribution heals both ways. When you lift others, you rise with them. And the funny thing about integrity is, when you live it long enough, people stop questioning your past and start admiring your present. Now imagine how empathy grows, like an expanding circle in water, understanding others so deeply. It softens judgments and builds bridges, even where walls once stood. And the more self-awareness sharpens, the clearer it is that every emotion, every thought, every reaction is simply a choice point. And at each choice point, you naturally lean into progress, not perfection. Isn't it fascinating how curiosity and adaptability, they open doors that effort alone never could? Just like how a key turns easier when it's jiggled, gently rather than forced. And so your unconscious mind, even now, is already beginning to weave these beliefs, these traits, these behaviours into something seamless, an effortless operating system, because deep down, you've always known growth is infinite, and that each day from here, it's less about fixing and more about expanding, evolving, expressing the full spectrum of who you've become. And of course, the more grateful you feel, the more you notice abundance in places you never looked before. The universe, after all, rewards boldness. And you, now, you're someone who moves forward with a smile, with resilience, with self-approval so deeply embedded, it hardly matters what others think. And isn't it exciting that your new story is already writing itself? That from this moment onward, you naturally act with integrity, speak with hope, move with certainty, and live with a presence that both inspires and uplifts. Because as you already know, your past is not your identity. Your actions now are, and you're already living proof of that, aren't you?